Hello, everyone. I hope Tuesday went well for everyone. For the stock market, it went decent, but I'm kind of left with a little bit of a wishful thinking. On the gap up, it would have been much nicer to have seen the market hold the gap up open and then close near the high of the day. So I have to admit, while that would have been great to see, it was still good to see the market up 0.86% on higher volume following the two constructive overall sessions on Thursday and Friday. So really, there isn't a whole lot of complaints here. I just wish we would have had a stronger close. On the S&P 500, we did finish higher than where we opened, so that is good. And as you can see on the Russell 2000, we finished much higher than where we opened, which is overall very, very, very bullish scenario, and it's excellent to see the 997 close gets it right on the doorsteps of all-time highs, and overall this market feels like it wants to hit new highs. And saying that, there was a lot of stocks in my short scans. I can't lie, there were a lot that flew up, and in particular of noticeability weakness wise, LinkedIn. And even though Netflix isn't weak left, I noticed that it's going to try to start rolling over on heavier volume. That's something to watch, I think. LinkedIn, as you can see, is weak. And Facebook, though, it shouldn't be a surprise, the weakness in LinkedIn, because Facebook has been telegraphing that something's not right. You would think that with the amount of shares in this stock and the way that it's known out there during a market rally, if everything was going well in the sector, Facebook would be rallying. The fact that it isn't, is a head scratcher. It's not a head scratcher, but it would be a head scratcher to most, I guess, new investors wondering, how come Facebook isn't coming along? How come Apple isn't coming along? Well, clearly then there's something wrong in that area. So you got to always keep that in mind. And clearly there's something wrong in the utilities area. Look at that sell-off. So that's pretty crazy. There's nothing wrong over in treasuries. As you can see, the yields continue to increase. Bonds, TTT, TBT, TMV all had huge sessions today. So trend following long signals, I would say, are about ready to trigger here, because that was a powerful support at the 5200 and retake in May, and then the follow through now getting close to new short-term highs. That has to be seen as a very, very bullish condition overall for these ultra pro shorts. ETFs that I'm throwing up here. I'm only using the ETFs to show you because, I don't have a ton of time. And then the Euro short, you can see that that looks very, very bullish. You can see that the United States dollar continues to look bullish, so it looks like the U.S. is good. Solar stocks out there, look at LDK, YGE, more the speculative area, and TSL. If those get to go along with stocks that are already doing well in this sector, that will be amazing. And then look at Tesla. Tesla gapped above the century mark today and then rallied another 10%, closing at 110.33. The stock is getting very, very parabolic. However, I don't think we've seen the last of Tesla. If it would happen to, let's say, top out here in the next few sessions, the stock seems to me to have a lot more to go. But on that end, while there is some good out there, China also, we did have some sells. HTA, the heavy volume close below the 50-day moving average on Friday. A close below the low of day, 1190, is a full sell signal if it comes on heavier volume, and we did get that, and the relative strength line continues to completely deteriorate. I am no longer interested in HTA, and it becomes a full sell. GMED is closing below the 50-day moving average. Even though it's on low volume, it's going to be a 50% sell, because from the initial day of the long signal, the initial day was back here, my bad. We keep messing up. Since the long signal, we now have only barely a small gain. So if we had more, it would be only a 25%. But since we're about ready to lose all of our gains, it's a half. And once again, if we close below the 1496 level, especially on heavier volume, GMED is a full sell. VIPS is also a 50% sell. Look at that huge sell-off on very strong volume, almost destroying all of the gains. However, even though that this day was a completely horrible day, turning a 28% gain to a 12% gain, we're only going to sell 50% to see if it bounces. If there is no bounce, a close below 28.67 is a complete sell for this stock, VIPS. We will not give it any more room to possibly sell off. And then also with the market almost hitting new highs, we're going to go ahead and start to take off some of our hedges. UVXY, you could go ahead and sell 75% of it if you want to. I'm only going to sell 50% as I still want to keep at least 2.5% of a hedge on, like it even matters, but I just don't feel like I should be selling it all. And SQQQ, the same thing, 50% sell on that. If we close below the low a day of today, or of the price date that you see here, May 28th, it will be a full sell. And UVXY, if it closes below 568, I still think though I'm going to use 562 overall. If it closes below 562, that will be the full sell. But UVXY, SQQQ, GMED, VIPS 50%, HTA 100%. And we do have two new longs tonight. ZTS is breaking out basically above this trend line connecting all these little highs here. So that's a breakout above that on strong volume. And while it doesn't look like it's the cleanest of breakouts, and looks like the base is kind of big or what have you, you can see here that ZTS on a weekly, whenever we truncate the price chart like Investors Business Daily does, you can see on the daily how wild it is, but on a weekly you can see overall to outsized moves it's still over what would be a tight base. Volume is huge on the breakout, semi-strong canceling stock. And then the other long, so ZTS is probably the best one tonight, only because you're not going to risk a whole lot if you're wrong. You're going to risk about 2.5% at most if something glaring happens. But UEIC is also producing a buy signal. This would have been the buy signal, 523, if BOP and volume would have been higher. However, today we're getting the breakout on strong volume, and BOP surged to a higher level than any green level on the previous uptrend in May in base. So that's always good to see, following all the strong accumulation earlier. The low volume during the pullback, price volume is matched up quite nicely. The only unfortunate problem is that UEIC only averages about 70,000 shares a day. That means this is a limit order stock only, and if you decide to put a limit order above 27.98, that's being very risky. I don't recommend doing it. If you're going to put limit orders, I would not go above the high day of today's intraday session. But that's it. And by the way, those are going to be 2%, ZTS and UIC. They're both nice, but this market, I don't like to see my nice charts like LOCK that I just bought a lot of lose max green BOP so soon whenever the chart pattern looks absolutely perfect. And I don't like to see stocks like VIPS that had very large gains at one point. You can see from our buy signal to just recently a 38% gain quickly turned to 12% gain. That kind of leaves me a little nervous on the overall market. But we'll see what today brings for most of you guys watching the video. RVLT is still on a near possible sell signal. Even though low day was 346 and it closed at 345, that's still too tight, and I'm going to go ahead and use the 326 level as the next area to cut the 25% of the stock if it does not move higher again. And RPT continues to be on watch. It did not close below the low a day, even though it's still here at the 50-day moving average. So a close below 1656 now will go ahead and lead to another sell on that position.